Welcome to Civitai.com, the home of the generative AI art community. If you enjoy this video, please consider hitting us with a like and subscribing, as it'll go a long way in helping us continue to bring you the highest quality AI community content. Please enjoy the video. Twitch, what is up? What is up? Welcome to a Civitai.com guest creator stream. My name is Tyler, and man, I got a good one for you guys this week. So this week I am joined by my good friend Lovis. If you do not know who Lovis is, this man is an AI artist specializing in 3D and prototyping. And I had the pleasure of meeting him in person a couple months ago when I went to LA for the COMFYUI Thought Leadership Conference. And the stuff he demoed and showed there is mind-blowing. Even if you're not working in 3D and you're not into it, just seeing what's possible in this thing that a lot of people are just using to generate images or make like little animations or loops, and seeing how far you can push Comfy and even just like 1.5 still just like SD 1.5 just keeps on giving. It's really great and it's really inspiring, and hopefully it inspires you guys to dive deeper into the nodes and put stuff together and make the next great thing that we can share with everybody on here. So without further ado, Lovis, why don't you go ahead and turn your camera on or share your screen or whatever it is that you are going to do. And give me 1 second here. Let me boom. Sorry, Twitch, give me 1 second. And Lovis, give me a mic check real quick so I can make sure Twitch can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Boom. Twitch, how does Lovis sound to you guys? Is he good?
Can you hear me well with my French accent? Is that okay?
Boom. Everyone is good. Twitch says loud and clear. We're going to go full screen. Let's go to give me 1 second. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so guys, real quick, Lovis, before I turn it to you, before I forget, Twitch, pinned at the top of the chat is the workflow that Lovis will be going through in case you want to download it and play with it and follow along. The workflow is on Civitai. And also make sure you go ahead and follow Lovis on his Twitter, or sorry, his X account, at ODIN Lovis. That link is also pinned to the top in the Twitch chat. So yeah, Lovis, tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what your background is, and then let's dive into it, because there's a lot to be learned here today.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here. So my name is Lovis ODIN. I'm actually in France, so it's pretty late. It's midnight here, but I'm happy to be here and to present you some of my work. So I'm originally a 3D designer, specializing in WebGL website. And since 2 years, I'm really focusing on COMFYUI and trying to create workflows that combine AI, 3D, but also animate diff. Today it will be not animate diff, it will be only 3D and image generation. But yes, I will be happy to present you that today. So just to give you first an introduction about this workflow. So it's a bit like a big one because it's in 3 parts. So it's good that when we will go through the workflow that we activate each part individually. So what I'm doing, I'm just clicking right, and you can just set group not to never, or like bypass it, and like that we can activate each one separately. Because this workflow I'm using now, so I will explain you a bit more, but I'm using always on my side Google Colab, because it allows me to have very powerful GPU for calculation. So for 3D, it's pretty important because when you do a lot of reconstruction, it's better. But you can test with your own GPU and let me know if it's working or not. You will see for 3D generation, I propose 2 systems. So you can choose which one, and there is one that is very easy to to set up. So yeah, and I just put the custom node that you will need, but when you will put the workflow, you should have everything. But the last one, that is COMFYUI 3D pack, that maybe some people know, is very hard to install. So it's an option for this workflow. You don't need it. You don't need it if you don't have it, because it's a pain to install it. But the one that is very cool, and I think not so many people know this custom node, is Mixlab custom node that allow to do like a lot of things, but also 3D things. So I will try to show that today. So I can start maybe straight. So I will just activate this one. So, and I will just show you what I'm doing in this first part. So this first part will just set up the generation of an object and a background. So it's very separate, the two. So I will just show you first how I'm generating the background, because I think it's a model that not so many people know that I'm using. So I'm using like SDXL, and the model I'm using, it's calling ArtisticXL. I don't know if it's yet on Civitai. So normally I'm using all my models that are in Civitai, but I like also sometimes to use Chinese model. And this one is very, very cool, because I think it can be doing pretty realistic render. So just in case, you can find it on Hugging Face, and I think it will be soon on Civitai for this one. So yes, and just for this model, you need to clip the set layer to 1.
Hey, Lovis, real quick, can you copy that link and paste that into the Discord chat for everyone for the for that model page?
Yeah.
And then I can go ahead and grab it and put it on Civitai for all you fine folks, and I'll add it to the workflow page as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll go
and
ahead.
that's only for the background, you know. So if there is people that want to use another model, there is no problem with that. So yeah, for this one, is really a simple classic workflow that is just generating. I just have like a simple prompt. I don't have even control net, nothing. I just like this model because it's doing very cool image in a very short time. And so I'm generating this image, and also I'm just using a classic upscaler. I don't have so much things to say about the upscaler. What I like to do is really to put the CFG really higher. So here I have a CFG of 1 for the first generation, and after to have the texture a bit more reworked on the upscale, I'm putting a CFG of 5. It helps pretty a lot to have like good results. So yeah, that's just for the generation of the background. So that's the first part. And secondly, I'm generating now the more interesting part. It's sketch to image. So as input, I will show you now I'm using a lamp, but it can work for a lot of different objects. So what I'm using is simply to describe the image. It's only a scribble. I'm using really a simple one. You can use also, I love to use, I think the name is Misto, if I don't mistaken. Misto line, yeah, Misto Anyline. So you can figure out which one is the best when you publish an image to have like clear line. I think it's really important to have clear line, not too much. If you have too much like background, like point or noise, it will be like a problem for the generation of the image properly. So yeah, so you can use other scribble or this one. And I'm using a model. For this one, it's a different model than the previous one. So sometimes I'm using the same model, but for this one, I wanted really to have model separate. So the second model I'm using for product is calling product design. I think it's a very, very good model for like objects. So there is not so many models like that are really specialized in object. And I did many tests with this one, and I was pretty impressed by the results for objects. So I really advise you to try to use this one, product design. So yeah, I'm using product design, and that's it. Yeah, just a classic VAE. Just to give you also tricks, I'm always lazy to write prompts. For sure, you can do like LLM prompting directly inside COMFYUI, but sometimes I like to ask ChatGPT. So there is like a kind of like a GPTs that allow, like the name is Midjourney, but like you can use it for anything. And I just give an image and just give like what I want, like as metal, and it give me like many very nice prompts. So I could use like also directly, like a describer inside the workflow, but I like to use this way because I have good prompt after. So finally, it's only like prompting and just one control net that will use my scribble line. And what I'm using for control net, I think now some people like discover this one. It's a control net that's called Union. So it's a very cool control net because you can use it for everything. So it's for SDXL. I don't know if there is a version for SD 1.5, but Union SDXL is replacing all the other control nets. I was not so sure it will work so good, and to be true, I did many tests and it's working really good. So if you have like either like a normal map, if you have either a depth map or like a scribble line as I have here, what is super cool is this control net can work a bit for everything. And so I'm using just a case sampler, and you can have the render of the lamp. So I can re-render it, but I think for now it's okay. I will do the test with other object after. So when I have this object, I could straight generate from this object. I could just connect this node to the next workflow and generate my 3D. But as the 3D is very heavy, the best is like more to save this or like to copy. I can also copy paste, but like anyway. And just to deactivate this one when you are done with generating your background and your image, and just activate the second one. Here you go. That's probably the most interesting one. I think the two second will be the most interesting one because it's 3D and integration of the 3D. So I will upload my image. I think I can just drag and drop. It should work like that. Okay. So there is multiple ways to generate a 3D object. Here you have two workflows to generate a 3D object. You have this one on the top that I think some people will have problem to launch because this workflow using a COMFYUI 3D pack. This workflow can be found. It's already on my workflow that I share with you, but it's also on the example workflow that you can find on the COMFYUI 3D pack, and it's the one that's using 0, 1, 2, 3 instant mesh. It's this one. So
hey, do me a favor. Copy and paste that page for me real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, with pleasure. You can ask me with pleasure.
Awesome.
Okay. And so that's one way to create. So I can launch it now with this image and we see what that gives. I will just put the image contrast at 1 and I will just explain because sometimes it can be a bit long to launch. So I prefer to launch it just in case. I just have to see if everything is launching. Yeah, it should be all right. Perfect. So for this image, I'm using a classic, after that I select this image, I resize it to a good size, I'm using a segment anything just to erase the background simply. Because for 3D generation, for both solutions, you need to have like no background or to have a black background. So the first solution, it's this one, is the most complex one. So I will speak about the most complex one and after you will be happy because the second one is very easy to use. So this one is like completely what I share and what is it on COMFYUI 3D pack. It's a workflow where you will just input a reference image and a reference mask. From that, it will use a pipeline that's called 0, 1, 2, 3. What is interesting here is I'm using another library that's called 1, 2, 3 plus 1.2. I know in the workflow of COMFYUI 3D example, it's the version before. And this version is not so famous, but it gives very good result for 3D. So I really advise if you use a complex version of my workflow to use this repo for the 1, 2, 3. And if you don't know 0, 1, 2, 3, what it's doing, it's a model that tries to understand the different position of your objects, that tries to understand it when it's look at the back, when it's look at the front. So yeah, normally it should launch on this side. Okay, it's launching the first workflow here. So from that, when he has a different view, it's using instant mesh, that is another model. And this model will combine all these views and generate for you a 3D object. So that's the object that I made. Yeah, so that's
so
really,
cool.
It's not that complex. And thanks to I want to really to push the work of COMFYUI 3D pack here. That is very amazing. And the result is very cool because this object, you can download it and it's a GLB file, or it can be also a FBX file, so you can reuse it even on 3D software. So it's very cool because you can have like something, quick. Just to let you know now it's calculating for the new object. Yeah, sorry. Go for it.
So Lovis, right now, while this is running, if you were to pop over to your Google Colab page, is there any way we could just see how much VRAM it's actually using right now? Just so we have an idea.
VRAM for GPU 16, and for the RAM of the system, I'm using 40 giga RAM now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So there is your answer, Twitch chat.
Yeah, it's a bit, but that's why this is the expensive solution. The other solution, so all this node here, you can delete this, and you can just use this 3 nodes that is super nice, and that is made, so you see the lamp is a bit different, but it's still working. So it's a super easy setup if you want to create 3D objects. So that's why I'm speaking about the more complex and now this one. It's calling TripleSR. Maybe some people heard about it. I'm using the node. TripleSR have a lot of custom node available in COMFYUI. I think there is 2 or 3 different. Me, the one that I love is the one made by MixLab. So MixLab, I can share it maybe here. MixLab is doing like a lot of node either for 3D, but also for other stuff. So like it's very organized, and it can be used also for LLM for a lot of purpose. So maybe I will send the link also of this one on the Discord talk. Okay. And so
awesome.
For this one, it's very simple. You just plug your image, your mask. You don't have to change any parameter when you put the triple sampler. You just put your triple SR model. You don't change any parameter, and straight it will generate for you from this image. It will generate a lamp. But as you see, we see what that gives with the other results is still running for this one. But probably the lamp that we will have with this will be a bit better.
So if they just if they just wanted to generate the bottom lamp, what would they bypass there to turn the heavier part of it off? Or is that possible for them to do?
Yeah, totally. So I can just reshow exactly what to do from an object. So awesome. You have your object. You just you can do upscale and everything, but like me, what I'm doing is just a segment anything. So if I don't mistaken, here's a model. I hope there will be the good one. Yes, perfect. So I love this one because it's the most simple. So what is segment anything is just it will just do a mask for the objects that you want. So here I want a lamp. That is a mask of the lamp. I'm loading a model. Sorry, I'm using a wrong one, I think. Yeah, it's always a bit Sam Loader, the good one. Sorry for that. Anyway, I can just copy it. I never know sometimes. It's complex sometimes. Yeah, it's Sam Loader, but like it didn't appear. So yeah, anyway, it's on the segment anything node, so you will find it easy. So yeah, this is just like to erase your background, and from that you can just open TripleSR. So TripleSR sampler. You just plug your image, your mask, you load triple model, you don't change any parameter, and just in the output, you need to search, and it's calling save TripleSR mesh, and that's it.
Awesome.
And so, I forget just one thing, maybe here, it's good to have like also upscale, just because I think the input of the image, if you don't want to have it like, it's good if you have it like in 512, but that's it.
So we have 2 quick questions from the chat. So one is, once you get these the 3D at the end of this pipeline, are these relatively low polygons, or are they just like when you put them into 3D, they're just like just massive amounts of polygons?
No. It's what is good with these models are like pretty low like it's never more than 5,000 polygons, so it's like pretty good. I'm just checking. So you see, it's interesting here. We have the result now for this one. So, like you see this one, it gives some mistake because it gives like some parts that are like not totally good for this model, but the shape is much better than the other one. Why is that? It's just to give you like, but we will use directly this model because you will see it's not so important because the shape is great, even if we have some holes it should not cause a problem so much. But when you have white on the image, like here, it's really a problem for 3D generation. So I advise you that it's a bit of tricks, but if you want to do white objects, what I advise you is to revert the color of the image. So to make it like you reverse the color of the image, you generate the 3D model, and after you can reinvert. But I will show that later anyway. But anyway, I think you have the two examples here. So the one complex and the one less complex. I'm sorry, the one complex doesn't look so good, but I think the shape is pretty nice, even if we have some hole. And here we see that he mistake a bit with the shape. But what you will see with my workflow, what is cool, it's not so important finally how your object look, because we will manage it with the rest of the workflow. So when you are done with your 3D object, you can just download it. It will create a file that is calling like that. It has no extension, the file. I advise you just to call it .glb. It's a .glb file. I don't know why it's not like already implemented, but yeah, anyway. That's like that. So when you have your 3D object, we will test other objects after. And now I'm just testing with this one. I don't even test it before, so sometimes it's working better for different objects. I really advise you to test it with 3D generation when you have like a round object, like a character, or like it's really working good for round objects. I don't know why, but yeah, it's very good for that. So I'm gonna do now the last part that I think is very good as well, is how you integrate this 3D object to your background and how you re-render it to have like something that fits your input image. So I will use a node that is very, very, very cool. It's calling 3D image. I think this node is not famous at all. I never saw any tutorial about it. And it's a very, very powerful one. So it's still made by Mixlab. So you can find it just typing 3D image. And this node allows you to combine a 3D file and a background. So it allows you to import a 3D file. So you can just click on that. And sorry, it should be on my workflow here.
Have you, Lovis, have you tried, someone asked a question further up. I just want to make sure I don't miss it. Have you tried generating an image of like one of the small, like isometric environments and then seeing how close it could turn that, like that small thing in the little environment into a 3D object?
I'm not sure to understand. Sorry.
Well, you know how in like Blender and in 3D, people will make the renders of the small little rooms from like the isometric view.
Yeah.
Have you tried putting an image of one of those in just to see what type of 3D it gives you back?
Yeah, it could. From isometric, I never tried directly. The only thing what is important with this 3D generation, it's not working for a scene. It's working only for an object.
Gotcha.
So you can do different objects, but you can't generate a full scene. It will really focus on the generation of a spatial object. So I don't advise, to try on a scene for the moment. It's not possible, but yeah, I understand your question. But yeah, it will work for object more for sure.
And and will this also work for like a singular person, or should they strict? Oh, it will. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it can work for a single person. So you can test it. It will not be perhaps a super high quality. Also, there is very interesting. Still, I didn't try it yet. But there is something that called a character gen that is already inside COMFYUI because of 3D Pack. I have just to find it. 3D Pack, character gen. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I changed my... Sorry for that. It's not even on there, so I need to go on his... I can't even find it. I just want to show because I think it's very interesting for people. Integrate a new system that is calling character gen that is very, very new. I don't know if I have any input video. No, sorry, I don't have on that. But yeah, if you want to try to create character, what I advise is really to try character gen. There is a workflow for that here. It's called character gen, and it's specialized to generate character for you. And there is a workflow that called character gen instant mesh. And so you can generate it using a bit the same workflow. It's the same kind, but it will be really specialized for character. So if you want a full body character, this one can be very good. I didn't test it yet. I think it just arrived last week. So yeah. So I will just continue on that. Not yet character, but we can for sure like test with character later. So
Super
when I
cool.
this node is very nice. So you can import your 3D object and you can change the background. So I just download my background and I just put my new one here. So what is cool now with this is I can place my lamp how I want it to be on the final result. So you can just scroll and you have you can click on control and that allow you to move the object where you want. And you can place
It's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's a node that is not so famous. The problem with this node, to be true, I want to say, it's not really made for that yet. So, for example, if I want to move the object really on the right, for the moment, I can't really do. So I'm a bit blocked to implement it in front of the image here. Soon, I'm discussing a bit with the developers that did that, so there will be solution. But what is super interesting with the people that create node is this node is made, it's a HTML viewer. So it's using the viewer that called model viewer on it. It's a WebGL viewer, so it's really the beginning of it. And soon we could probably create entire scene. But yeah, I will continue from that. So I will just launch this workflow, the time, and to explain you what it's doing. The time it's launching it.
Spence asked if it does ambient occlusion.
Yeah, it could be, but it's a bit like the goal of that is after I will use the IP adapter and stuff to really try to really integrate it good at the end. So yeah, I will just I'm just checking if it's launching good because sometimes you will see also it's perfect. Okay, I see the image here is generating good. So what is cool also after with this Mixlab node is it gives you output of the image, the mask, the background image. And you have another node that I love in Mixlab. I don't know if people use this one or other one, but I love this one because it allows you to mix foreground, a mask, and a background. So you just have a mask. It's just when you want to put an element in the front of a background. This node is super cool. Maybe there is other way to do, but I like to use this one. So because now it's funny, now I see this visual, but in the output, it's all uncombined. So this one allows me just to recombine it. So to have this result here. So yeah, I will just try to explain this workflow, what it's doing. So I'm using the same model that I use for the background generation. That's the model AI Artist. I'm using also LoRa that add details. You can use it if you want. It's not the more important. And here, I'm sorry, I launched it already. I didn't change the prompt. But here, what is interesting is to use the same prompt that I use for the lamp generation here. Because I'm sure already it will guide a bit the generation better. So I'm putting that here. I will have to relaunch the workflow after, but anyway, it's not a problem. I can show you what it's doing. And after, I'm using a lot of different control nets. But I'm using all this control net with a very low value. So I'm just doing a strength between 0.1 to 0.3, sorry. And I'm keeping the n% pretty high because I really want that the image is generating in a good way. I don't know how to say, but I really want to follow exactly, because you see my image here. What is super cool, it doesn't look good here so much because we have problem of light and stuff. But for the control nets, it's perfect. You have already all what you need. I'm also using maybe people don't know, but I'm using a depth map. I'm using Misto. That is a line control net. And I'm using also a new one that is inside Marigold. So Marigold, it's normally for depth estimation for this image here. But I'm using it also, this model that generates a normal map. So that is pretty cool also if you have 3D environments, because it's a very good control net. And I'm using also Canine Edge. So at the end, you have 4 control nets. And what is funny is all these control net now, it's very easy. I could use the same one, sorry, because I was doing tests, but I could use the same one and connect to the same one. But it's using all the same model that is calling Union. As I say before, I think it's really
that makes life easier.
Yeah, exactly. And even now, I'm sorry, I copied 4 times. It's really bad. I should have just connected to the same one, but yeah. Anyway, and after that, what is very good, I think, with this workflow, it's also that I'm using Iselite. So I'm just using Iselite. So as input, I'm using the positive, negative, and I'm using the foreground and the background. And the foreground and background, luckily, we have it because of that here. We have already I have already the image that is the foreground and the background image, so I can just use it for my IC light. So IC light allow to have better result for lighting. I don't know if it impacts so much my workflow, to be true. IC light, maybe I didn't connect well. I'm not sure, but it looked good at the end. So yeah, I think it's a good way to make it. I'm just checking. Yeah, okay, it's loading my model. We should have a first result soon. So yeah, after the IC light, I'm using what we call it in-paint model conditioning. So that's very important because I don't want it to regenerate the image fully. I just want him to focus on the lamp itself. So I'm just giving in-paint conditioning is good because it's preparing for the cast sampler to have like in-painting. And so for that, it's very easy because I'm giving the mask. So the mask finally of the lamp, I just use the mask that I have input here, and I just use a node that's called grow mask with blur, just to have, I think that's a very good technique when you want to integrate object, never integrate straight like from the mask, always try to extend it and to bring some blur. So here in the parameter, I just expand the blur of 10 and a blur radius of 10. And I think it's a value that works very good for most of the render. So it's using in-paint conditioning, and what is very cool in this workflow, I think it's using not a classic in-painting, but what we call a differential diffusion. So it's a node that replaces a bit. I think for me, it's better than a classic in-painting because this one, with this one combining, it's very powerful and it will really integrate your object better. So it's very easy to connect. You just need to connect your model to the differential diffusion and to connect to the cast sampler. So it's really not so complex. And in between, I forget to say, I have an IP adapter. This IP adapter will help the generation. Now I didn't change the good image. I will change it just after. So we'll have a lamp that have the style of a bronze statue. But that's very important in the workflow here. I think I can put it maybe right now. So I will just download. I think I didn't download it, or maybe I don't remember this image. Yes, maybe I did already. So I will just put it here. The time it's loading the different control nets. Tuck. So I'm sure for the next pass it will work. So finally, after yes, it will just. I just give the IP adapter to the cast sampler, and the final result will be to combine the image together. And you really don't need to do so much else. I have the denoise at 1, and you will see the results very soon, I hope. I don't know why this model taking a bit long to load. That's the problem also when you have like different part of workflow. I don't know why sometimes it's taking a bit more long to render. But yes, we can, yeah.
So someone in the chat asked if you were to in the image at the beginning of this third part, if you were to just like slowly rotate the lamp for like almost like frame by frame, and then generate for each frame and then stitch it all together afterwards, do you think you would be able to get a relatively smooth animation?
It's a very good call. Yes, for sure. It will be a very, very good. The only problem we have right now is there is no node that allow really to animate object in 3D in COMFYUI. The only node that you can do animation, it's a node that allow to do like an orbit of camera around an object. But now you don't have a true node, but I hope it will arrive soon. But there is no node to say, okay, this object have to translate from or to rotate in this direction. We don't have that yet exactly. So that's a bit the limitation yet. You can't really do animation straight in COMFYUI for your 3D objects.
Gotcha. And then so JoviX over in our Twitch chat said that it'll work, but it'll be super flickery, but you could just use a Rife and then do all the cleanup afterwards. And then to answer the question of Sombra Network over in the Twitch chat, the control net that is being universally used here is called Union, right? Union SDXL?
Yeah, boom. Union EDXL. Yeah, I think I really just to that's why I use here different one, because I was testing with the one that I use normally, for like depth and stuff, and I had exactly the same results with the Union. So now I think I will just use Union always Well, so you see, now it's funny. We have like the result with a lamp, but because my first input of IP adapter was a bronze, it was not a good result. And we have still the hole in the lamp, but it gives some stuff, but it's not perfect. So
was that the IP adapter of the Greek statue?
Exactly. So now I give a new IP adapter, so we'll see normally in like in a few seconds it should be like a better lamp. But for sure, now that I see we have a hole here, I will have probably to clean the 3D model or to regenerate it here just to have a perfect result after. But yeah, maybe we can test. I don't know what time it is. Yeah, we have time a bit. I can try to do it with just to show it can work also for objects that were not object before. But we just see the result with this one, if it's looking good or not.
Yeah, man, let's do it. That is someone message Gertie and tell him we made him a lamp.
Nice. So and you see what is good with this is really with this light and stuff. It's really try to integrate it good. Even the shadow on the floor and stuff is trying to do okay. So the result is not super nice for this one, but we have something. I would say the top is not so good, but the here it's like not bad. Let's try with something else now that we have everything working. So I will just set up to never. I will just try to set group node to always, and I will try with more like kind of a painting, and just to ask to reconstruct it. So I wanted, something like that. I think it could be cool. And so same, wooden Picasso. I already asked some prompt before. Maybe we can try with some wood to see what it gives. I think wood can be interesting because it will help for the generation of 3D because wood have a lot of, how I can say, information on the texture. So maybe when we generate that, it can be good. So yeah, I can just generate also another image just here, just to have something different, and we can launch it. So the problem when you have big workflow like that, and when you work with COMFYUI as well, sometimes it's very fast. This workflow, if you test another one, it can be long, but sometimes the way to show my image or the way to reload my model, it can be a bit long. So yeah, it can be a bit the part annoying. Just the time is loading. Maybe I will just show quickly maybe COMFYUI why I love to use it. Why I'm using COMFYUI just quickly is just really because I can use a really powerful GPU and has a cost that is really low. So this was made by Dream Machine originally. I share, and I can share this also, but not exactly this one because that's my personal one, but I can share a collab later that is a bit adapt. And what is really cool, it's installing everything for you straight from the collab. So when you launch it for the first time, you don't need to install anything on your computer. It will connect to your drive. It will create a folder AI, and it will install everything. So that's the part that is very cool. And also what I really like, I do a lot of tests inside. So like sometimes I have a lot of things, but what I really love, it's what we call it download resource. So what is super nice with that is when you use Google Colab is when you want to download any resource, I just put the link of the resource, I just put the name and I launch it and it will download it super fast because it's using a Google server. So it downloads it to my drive without that I have to do it. So that's the really true reason I love to do Colab. It's because you have fast results and because it's flexible. But yeah, sometimes for image, it can be a bit long. I'm just checking if everything going well on this side. Okay, just restoring that. And it will do my image here.
The very first image that you're putting into this first block here, the ones that look just like super sketched, is that kind of where you always start from? Is an image that just like is a rough sketch like that, and then you let SDXL kind of translate it and do its thing there?
Exactly. And that's why I think here it's important, this part, is because I use a model that is a product, because I'm trying already, if I give this image and I say remove the background and create me a 3D, it will do something really bad. But if I transform this image into an object first, after when I do the 3D generation, it will really help and it will give a better result, So yeah. But yeah, it's just a bit like slow for me that I have to reload all the time this. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if maybe there is question or anything because like the time that he's generating this one. But I think you have the main idea. After, for sure, you can like iterate on this part to make the integration better. So it will really be important the value of your IP adapter and also the value of your control net. But you can keep it low, and I think it's working good. It's just important as well. Now I take a 3D object that the generation was not perfect. I think if the generation was a bit better for the whole year, we will have a better final output. But yes, yeah, I'm sorry. Now it's bugging a bit on my side.
It's all good, man. How long did it take you to get this whole workflow kind of put together from the time that like you had the idea and you started working on it to where this version is now?
After it's like, I think how we work and you do the same. We always reuse nodes that we use somewhere else, that we use for another workflow, and we're like copying, pasting. But I think in total, like for this one or 2 days. So yeah, I like to work fast a bit. So now I know what's working or not. So yeah, I know I just create this workflow for Civitai a bit, to be true. So yeah, I just did that this beginning of week, and I was doing on my time when I was not working. And yeah, I'm happy to share with the community because I think I hope people can do great stuff with it. Yeah. I'm sorry now it's bugging a bit, but like yes, I'm sure on your side it should work good, and yeah, you will not have problem with it. I hope.
Dude, this is absolutely legendary, I think. And then Blem over in our Discord chat said, there still will be steps in Blender to make the object clean, like booleans to close the holes, etc.
You can, but also what I think that if we just change the color of the object, for example, one thing that is important, what I could do now, if I was like reworking on that, I will change my prompt here for the lamp, and I will say I want a lamp that is totally black. But I will keep this image because I like it. And so when I will generate the lamp that will be black, it will generate a super high mesh because it will understand perfectly the black color and it will not have white, so we don't have all like that. And after, what is cool with this workflow here, it's when you put your lamp here, it doesn't take any color of it. The only color it will take is from your IP adapter. So you can put a 3D model that will be full black here and like with no hole inside. And you can use a IP adapter with the old image that you had before to generate your final results here. So I don't know if it's clear, but what I mean is for AI, for a 3D generation, it's a bit hard to understand when you have white in your image. So I really advise that when you generate your 3D, try to avoid to have any white interference. Just keep your image if you have some white and you like it for your IP adapter later. But yes, just I don't think what is good in this workflow I was trying to do is to don't have clean to do. But for sure, if you want to do cleaning, why not, But the goal was to try to don't have like any clean to do. Oh, here we have an interesting shape, so maybe I can just try to finish. So yeah, it followed a bit what I say, but it getting a bit more creative and it give a nice wood, so I like that. So
we had a question in Twitch that asked which GPT you're using to generate your prompts.
Now I'm just using ChatGPT here, but else what I love to use for prompting, I use Blimp. I think it's from Wade, I think. I'm not sure. Blimp caption. The name is like Blimp analyze image. Yes. I don't know who did this node again, but this node is super cool because you can just plug your image and you can ask a question. So for example, can you describe me the image? You can just load a Blimp model. I think, for example, the Salesforce one is pretty good for image caption. It's a new one that is pretty cool. And from that, you can just it will generate a prompt. So here I can just do a text debug if we want to see. I just will see if it's finishing on this side. I can't really launch it, but that will be the way. If you want to do it automatically to generate a prompt here, you can just connect your string here to the text here, So you could just do like a classic convert text to input. And so you can connect your string to here. And so it will describe what I'm doing manually, because I prefer sometimes ChatGPT. I prefer ChatGPT here because sometimes descriptions are better. But yeah, you have many solutions to do it also inside, I imagine. I will just try the time in the same time if there is other question, but just to launch this one to see in 3D what we have.
Yes.
Results. Just to finish, maybe.
And then before we wrap up, can you share the link to that Google Colab configuration for Comfy?
I can do it. Just I want to share the good one because I make one that is can I check maybe on my Discord? I will share it later. I'm sorry because
no
I
problem.
Have a link,
no problem.
That I share already on Badanoco for people to know. I create a Google Colab that is very useful because it's this version, but it's installing for you the 3D pack that I spoke before. So this pack here, because this one probably is maybe the most complicated node to install. So you will see on Banadoco, you can find it. You can just tap collab, and I'm sure there is not so many people trying to do collab. So, and it will make you a full installation of 3D Pack and COMFYUI on your Google Drive. So it can be very useful. I'm just checking if it's working. Maybe this time it's reloading the model here. I hope it's launching. Should be good. Because yes.
Awesome.
I relaunch. Yeah. Okay. It's launching this one.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this looks like.
Yeah, this one should be more interesting already. Yeah, I did this one. It was the same before. I can just delete that. Just the time it's generating. It should take And so that's really asking. Yeah, it's just segmenting. Okay, segmentation is done. Oh, and now it will do first the model of triple SR. So normally the most simple was you can do. We can see first what it gives. I think it will be. We see. I don't know. I don't want to say anything. Okay, so it gives something. Oh, okay. From this angle, it's not bad. Yeah. It's not bad, but that's sure from the back. But it's trying to do something. But But you have a model from that. I'm sure it will be interesting to see the difference with this one here. I'm just checking where it's at. Okay, just loading. Yeah, we can just wait 1 minute and we can have the final result for the other one. But yeah, as you see, sometimes, for this one, it do some bug here and here. But yeah, it's making a 3D object, and that's the goal of the workflow. It's okay if your object is not perfect because this part normally will make it better, normally. But yeah.
Someone asked if you happen to know what PyTorch version your collab is using.
Yeah, PyTorch. It's a bit like
just add cell and type in print open parentheses PyTorch dot _ version _
Yeah, I just want, because I'm sure I'm launching it, but yeah, because there is also PyTorch 3D that I'm launching, and just now I have to cut my. If I want to test it on the Google Colab, I have to cut my. But I don't remember. I'm just using CUDA. I think PyTorch is installing straight for CUDA. I'm just checking what is important. I don't know if it's linked to PyTorch, but when I'm installing PyTorch, I'm doing that. I'm making sure to uninstall everything and to install the version of Torch that is 2.3.0. It's really the one that I find that work better for 3D Pack. But yeah, for all the rest, it doesn't change. And also when you change your version of PyTorch, it's good to have the good version of Xformers. I don't know if Xformers is still very used, but for 3D Pack, it's used. So for example, here is the 26. It's fitting exactly the version of Torch 2.3.0. But yeah, if you just download my collabs that I share on Banandoco, for sure it will be normally working straight normally.
Awesome.
Yeah, we see. I think it's generating now the different view. So we can already see. We will see from the different view if it will give an interesting object or not. And I think it will give a pretty interesting object. We can see that it will give a pretty flat object, but it will give, I think
Dude, that's pretty impressive because that's a pretty complicated object.
Yeah, exactly. And we see that it's like it doesn't do so many mistakes. And that's why here I'm using a very complex object, but normally it's very good for like, if you do a cup, if you do a chair, if you do a table. That's why the first example I did was a table, because normally AI understand better. So after reconstruction should be really better. And yes, that's the part when your GPU should be going high. No, it's okay. No, it's not going so high. Normally it's going, but yeah. I would just wait for that, and I think after we should.
I think the coolest thought about all this is like, okay, sure, I'm sure when I post this on YouTube, some 3D artist is going to look at the video and say these 3D objects are blah 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 blah. But like the fact that we can do this, and the thought that this. Right now, like the version of this we are seeing today that Lovis put together is probably the worst this will ever be, and it's only going to incrementally, probably exponentially, continue to get better and better. That is the part that's really exciting, and that's kind of true for all of the AI tools we're using right now. When anyone says the hands are whatever, or Will Smith eating the spaghetti looks like it. Like the day we're seeing it is the worst it will ever be. And it's only going to continue to get better. And this is pretty good, man.
Yeah,
think about where we were 6 months ago. This is pretty impressive, if you ask me.
No, for sure. And even like, for example, that's other example I did before. Here, the lamp, was not existing at all. And I think the integration was working very good, And so that was exactly the same workflow I did before. And so I think it can be very also, you can imagine this for product, for brand or for stuff. You can really put their product in a lot of different ways. So there is many, but as you say, it's really the beginning of that. Even the code that I'm using was updated last week for the 3D. And that was not existing 2 months ago. So for sure, it will go even further. And I'm happy to push always 3D. So if you want to follow, I will try to push always more, and soon maybe to do animation with it straight from COMFYUI could be nice. Yeah.
Oh man, the thing that I really want to do with these streams too is like every couple months circle back with the people that have come on before and see how stuff has improved. Just like we get to follow the development of all the cool stuff that guys like you, guys like Spence, guys like Phil or Machine Delusions are doing as it like evolves in real time.
No, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
cool.
This is really cool. But yeah, what after this wood statue comes out and whatnot, then we'll kind of wrap this up.
But like, I'm not so happy with the results. But it's very flat. I'm sad because it was looking good there, and like So again, it's like also like you can also like change the seed and retry to relaunch. I advise also to try to do different image. I'm just sorry today because the 2 image I tried maybe was the worst results that I had with this. But yes, you can test it a bit more, and I'm sure you will have cool results to share. So yeah, I was happy to show you that today.
Dude, Lovis, man, thank you so much. You are an absolute legend, and the stuff you're doing is like beyond impressive. Why don't you go ahead and if there's like any last words you have for everyone watching right now, go ahead and say whatever you want to say, and also let people know where to find you and kind of like what you're working on and pushing forward in general on right now.
Yeah. So it was very, very fun to have you all on this call. I'm pushing a lot also like on the side of like integrating now a volumetric capture inside COMFYUI. So it's a bit crazy, but there is some nodes that you can do Gaussian splatting, for example, inside Comfy that already exist. I know it's a bit crazy, but I'm trying to push all that and also to try to make a more animate deep video. I love the last workflow of inner reflection unsampling that allow, if people want to test, I just want to say that because I love this workflow. It's not at all here, but because you can do like really, really stable video with it. So I really love the last workflow unsampling. And I will share soon more stuff about it. And you can follow me on Twitter, ODIN Lovis, and on LinkedIn, Lovis ODIN. I'm not so much on Instagram, so yeah. And I'm trying to share the maximum of stuff. And if you have any question about this workflow, if that doesn't work for you, I will be really happy to answer. And yeah, thank you.
Hey, real quick before we let you go, looking at this thing on your X profile. Okay, without the music though. Sorry, guys. Can you just talk about what we're seeing here real quick? Because you have this pinned on your X profile, and this just like looks so cool, man. Can you just talk about this a little?
Yeah. So this one is funny because it was just to describe. I wanted just to have one input, and it's giving you a video of it. So it's using Insight. Insight ID, Instant ID, and it's using also LLM to describe the image. And I'm using a combination of SDXL because when you use Instant ID for face, you need to have SDXL, but for animation it's not so good. So I'm doing a first pass with SDXL for the face, and after to clean it a bit, to don't have so many flickering, I'm doing a SD 1.5 pass. So that's why I think it's working good. It's a combination of both in one workflow. And yeah, the goal of that was like, I love to create things where you put one thing and it creates one thing. So you could put your photo and it will work, So yeah.
Dude. Awesome. Yeah. You are an absolute legend. Guys, go download the workflow, play with it, build on it. Just like, let's try to push all this stuff forward. Make sure you go follow Lovis on X at Odin Lovis. His link is pinned to the top of the Twitch chat. Dude, Lovis, thank you so much. The workflow is on Civitai, guys. Please go download it and try it. Keep up with Lovis. Yeah, man. No, that is all we got. You're a legend. Thank you for sharing your time and your knowledge with us, guys.
Thank you for all the organization and everything was perfect. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. And it is also a pleasure to meet you. It's always nice to see when these incredibly smart, talented people are also really, really great people in person. And the thing about Lovis, when we all got to meet each other in LA, is that once he starts talking about the stuff he's doing, especially in person, you can feel the level of excitement he has for what he's doing. And I think to push this stuff forward at like a continuous exponential rate, you need to have that level of excitement and enthusiasm behind what you're doing. So, man, keep it up. We're here to support. Let me know if there's anything we at Civitai can do to help you with what you are doing. Guys, that is going to wrap this up. Next week, we are, I know on the Twitch schedule, it says MDMZ. Unfortunately, MDMZ had to cancel for personal reasons, but we are going to have Kezia AI on next week, and we're going to be talking about kind of like her experience from directing real life music videos to what she did with her Project Odyssey AI music video, which if you have not seen it yet, came out phenomenal. So she is going to be on next week, Friday. I don't think I have a Thursday one next week. Yeah, no, next week we're doing a relatively normal week. Ali will be back with office hours on Monday. We have our Civitai AI community space over on X on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you come to that. We've been having a lot of really great community discussions over on X. Office hours on on Wednesday with Ali again, and then I will be back on Thursday for AI video and animation, and then Friday for the guest creator session with Kezia. Guys, as always, Twitch, thank you so much. We appreciate you. This is Civitai.com. This has been a creator session. Go follow Lovis at Odin Lovis on X. Download the workflow, make something cool, tag us, share it. we will reshare it. Appreciate you all. Have a great weekend. We're out. Peace.